Next, we're going to be going over the barbell hip thrusts. As we get set up through the barbell hip thrust, very similar to a dumbbell hip thrust, but since we have a bar and it is a little bit heavier, it's a little bit more important to be consistent about how we mount and dismount that bar as we get set up. So, setup though is no different, okay? Other than the fact that you're always going to start on the ground, right? We aren't going to start on the bench. There's no way to get that barbell up if we do. So, all the way down to the ground, okay? Make sure that we actually start with those shoulder blades if we can, right? Finding a bench or finding whatever platform we're using that has enough stability that when we're actually going to go through that hip thrust, get that bar up, that's not going to tip over, okay? So, from here as well, lining up that pad to start here, right in the middle of the hips, right? We don't want the pad to be way out to the side. We don't want that bar to be off center from us. Okay, but all the way down to the ground, try to find that platform or find something that you can get the shoulder blades to the top of the bench or at least above the edge of the bench to start. So that way when we actually lift up, there's not as much space that we need to worry about shifting around, since we're gonna have a lot of weight usually, or more weight than a dumbbell at our hips to start. So we don't want to have that weight pulling us around in a bunch of different directions if we can. So as we're getting set up here, right, both shoulder blades to the bench, we're going to pull that barbell into our hips to start if we can, okay? If you are using a pad here, make sure that that Velcro is to the top, right? So if that Velcro is facing down, once we start putting pressure on that pad, it's just going to go right to that crease where the Velcro is lined. So if that Velcro is on the top, that means there's no space or no place for that Velcro to rip and for that bar to essentially be as if you don't even have it on there in the first place. So, pulling that bar into the hips, okay, if we can, right, get situated. We're going to start by trying to pull our knees or our feet close to us as much as possible. We're going to get our elbows to the top of the bench, and as we're pushing up with the elbows, right, we're trying to almost like get into that dip position again. Get the shoulder blades to the top of the bench. As we're doing that, we're going to continuously slide our feet closer and closer towards our butt or towards our body. So that way, once we push off the ground, we have our feet planted flat, push off the ground, and then move around more with our feet if we need to from there. So as we're going through this motion again, right, so elbows are to the top of the bench, shoulder blades on the edge of that bench from here. I'm going to start pushing my hips up in the air to get to that starting position, right? So from here, I'm going to slowly bring my feet in, elbows disappear, shoulder blades on top of that bench all the way through, and I'm going to feel if I can get my feet planted, shoulder width apart, make sure they're on tracks again, so feet pointed straight, knees in line of our hips, in line of our shoulders, in line of our toes, right, and our ankles. So from here, we're going to start in that upper position, again, right, thinking that we want that bar right on top of that hip bone, or slightly below that hip bone, excuse me, and then from here, keep making sure that we're putting a little bit more pressure down and into those legs. That way when we're extending, squeezing the glutes, coming all the way back down towards the ground. If we can touch, that's great. And then pushing through those heels, driving through the bottom of the feet. Feet stay flat every time, right? If you can see there, right, we want to make sure that we're not dropping one side before the other. And then from there, every single time, inhale at the bottom, exhale, breathe out as we press towards the ceiling, okay? So a couple more here as we're getting ready for that position. Inhale, push through the ground, exhale as we push up, and then right back down to the ground, nice, slow, and controlled, making sure that we're going even the entire way through. To get rid of that bar, right, sit that butt all the way down to the ground, and that bar should be able to kick away from you. And that is the barbell hip thrust.